Hello, everyone, and welcome to the audio commentary for Season 5 of Retrospectives Be Damned. Um, so, we're starting off here with episode 19. The idea for this season was similar, to what I had always had in mind with the overall game plan of 1 through 25. But it did change a little bit because of chemo. Originally, I was going to start off uh, with the little beard that RBD has. And basically, for the entire year, I was just going to grow this huge, I was hoping it would be like a ZZ Top esque beard by the end of the season to show that I was in captivity. So that the beard just kept growing. I don't know if I had an idea for my hair. Probably not. For some reason, I'd probably make a joke that he trimmed his hair or some crap like that. Um, but that had to change because that was no longer possible because of my chemotherapy. I was still undergoing it, so I didn't look like myself. I couldn't actually grow hair if I wanted to. Um, so instead, I decided, well, how about the RBD guy takes on different forms? Which makes no sense in the context of the show, but fuck it, who cares? So the first form was a puppet, and this was actually the same puppet I used for the character Sylvia in Drunk Max 3. Um, and we basically just stripped we took off the costume I'd put on the character and just had it be this puppet I had gotten. Still have the puppet, it was really cool. It was actually really hard to control the puppet because of the way the episode was. I mean, the way it was the layout of my sister sitting next to me. I had to use my left hand to operate the puppet, and in doing it, that was the hand that I had gotten surgery on. Um, so for the chemotherapy, for my cancer. Um, it's a very long story, but basically they had to take flesh from my hand. So my hand was very weak, and I was still controlling my muscles. So it was really hard to control. We had to take a lot of breaks because of the puppeteering, and my sister was so patient because she was just there playing this character she had already played, and I really really appreciated how patient she was throughout this process because it was tough. The intention was always to have guests all year for the season. My sister was always going to be the first, and as coming back as the RBD guy, this was her second time filming. Even though RBD guy Extreme '90s Gamer had made a cameo using archival footage, so it was really cool going back and doing all that and whatnot. She really had to carry this episode in lieu of my chemo because obviously I'm puppeteering something. I have no facial expressions or anything like that. And my sister is the one, like the human that you're kind of following that was doing everything. So she did such a wonderful job. Each topic for the season was tailored to the guest. So since my sister and I, well, first of all, she's the Extreme '90s Gamer, so it was going to focus on '90s gaming. And also, that's actually something my sister and I have a lot of fond memories of, since we kind of grew up doing all that, doing '90s gaming and playing together and all that stuff. So her playing that character, it all really fit in, and it turned out to be a really fun episode to create. So here we start off again, 20th episode, which is really cool to get that 2-0. Again, still in captivity. I decided to make my second form to be the Stormtrooper helmet that it's just stuck on this character. One, because I love Star Wars, and I wanted a Stormtrooper helmet for, I think it was Halloween that year. I can't remember. And also, I just thought it would be really cool to have like that helmet as the second form. My arm had healed at that point, so I didn't have to wear like bandages or like a sleeve or anything like that. But I was still undergoing chemo at the time of this episode, so I didn't really look like me. I was still bald and beardless, so I thought wearing a helmet but being able to physically express myself would be something really fun and would allow me to do more instead of just puppeteering something. Um, Becca was my second guest. She loves uh, quote unquote games for non gamers. So, in other words, games that are made to be easily accessible. Um, so, I chose that. And also, that terminology of games for non gamers is kind of a stupid saying because if you're playing a game, you're a gamer. It doesn't matter. I know obviously it's to distinguish people who are hardcore gamers and really enjoy playing video games as a hobby, as opposed to people who are kind of like, um, passively playing games. But I mean, if you're a movie watcher, you're a movie watcher. No one ever says hardcore movie watcher. They usually say like film buff or something like that. So I really wanted to say a message on how that terminology makes no sense to me within this episode. So it was really fun. Actually, speaking of fun, Beck and I had so much fun filming amidst the craziness that was happening. I had mentioned before that, you know, going through chemotherapy, it doesn't just affect you, it also affects the people taking care of you. And just having a moment to just sit there and play video games and just have fun, or have fun and film something silly and talk about it. I remember Rebecca was really had a lot of fun shooting this, and so did I. It was like one of those moments where we were working on something together that didn't involve pumping me full of chemo or hospital visits or anything like that. So this was a it's an important episode to me, more so behind the scenes than anything else because of that. So moving on to the 21st episode, the third episode of the season overall. Um, I had felt that I looked normal, like sort of normal, because at this point I had stopped chemotherapy. So the first thing that grows back is your eyebrows, and you start getting like a little bit of like fuzz on the top of your head. So since my eyebrows were growing back, I hadn't had eyebrows for like a year or close to. It was like 6 months. So I felt I looked normal, but now looking at it, um, I didn't really look like me. I kind of still look sickly, in my opinion. Especially, you're gonna see a shot in a moment of my arm that's like really, pale and just like gross and translucent almost. And I wrote that into the episode uh, because I wanted to comment on why all of a sudden the RBD guy has a giant scar. Um, for the mustache, it was part of the transformation. I'm wearing a wig and I have like a beanie on. That was actually my look throughout chemotherapy. I would wear a wig with a beanie to kind of cover the fact that my wig didn't have a full part line. I would push it back a little bit, but that's essentially what I look like without the fake mustache. And the mustache I put on just because I wanted facial hair of some sort. I thought it would balance my face. Um, because I don't know, I kind of look like a Ninja Turtle. I think when when I have like a little bit of hair and no facial hair. Um, so that was the origin of this transformation. Of course, Max, drunk Max, being the guest, I had hinted. I mean, I always intended for him to come back. He made an appearance 2 seasons ago. I think it was season three, where he sent the other RBD guy into a burning building. I always wanted him to come back at least one more time. Thankfully, he comes back two more times, and this is one of his appearances. So that was really cool to bring him back. And of course, he's matching my look um, for a joke. and also, I didn't really know how else to present myself because I couldn't really look like Max, really, and I didn't know what else to do. So I said, fuck it, you know what? He's matching his look. It's a joke. Max is weird. He does odd shit like that. Um, I was not drunk while playing the RBD guy. I was pretending to be drunk. However, for Drunk Max, which we shot on another day, I did get drunk. Um, and it was like one of the first times I got drunk since chemo. And it was, since finishing chemotherapy. And it was so satisfying and nice. And it was cool. It was a good time. Drunk gaming as a topic was something I did want to cover. And obviously, as Drunk Max being the guest, it just made sense to finally cover it. In my 20s, I had so many stories of just getting piss drunk blasted because my friend would live, he lived right next to me in my 20s. And so he'd throw a lot of parties, and I would just walk to his house, get insanely drunk, hang out, have fun, and then when everything was done, I would walk back to my house. I didn't have to drive, so it was unlimited the amount of alcohol. It was, to a certain point, of course. I have a lot of stories. I would come back home and just play video games, or there's other things as well. I really had to narrow them down for this. I could have easily done like a whole season on drunk episodes, but I just wanted to cover it once. I thought it'd be fun, and so yeah, that's what these were like some of the highlights that I remember, and just I remember having such a fun time recalling these and writing about it and getting the footage for it. So here we have the finale of season 5, which is episode 22. Um, this episode marks the return of classic RBD guy who had been missing since like halfway of it had been a season and a half. The last time we saw him was halfway through season 4. Um, I pretty much was back to normal. I had but the beard is real. That's my real beard I had grown out, and obviously the eyebrows are fully back. Though I am still wearing a wig. That's what the wig looked like. And man, actually with the beard, it really does look like my real hair in this here. Um, but I did want to have classic RBD guy come back for the last episode, and thankfully everything worked out. And except for the hair, obviously, but I'm really pleased with how it looks out, how it came out. Um, what is it? I had always wanted to talk about collectibles, um, and from my movie and gaming collection, and this seemed like a good time as ever to do it. For several reasons. One, since it was a Max only episode for the most part, I thought, well, okay, Max can talk about his collectibles. Also, I had recently moved all my stuff downstairs because my son needed a room. He was, I think at this point, a year old. So he was way too big to be sleeping in our room in a crib. So my wife and I had always intended once chemo was done, we would move everything downstairs. So my chemotherapy was done at this point. I looked normal. I felt great. And so, yeah, we moved everything downstairs and, had all this set up so that I could have all my stuff downstairs, and my son can have his own room. So I uncovered so many collectibles that were just kind of like hidden away and were now more, easily accessible. And I thought, okay, cool. That's the episode because now everything's here, and it's a cool way to also introduce how much more space I had to film downstairs since we had a new gaming room. Um, and another RBD guy, he turns out to be the season villain, and I guess the guest here as well. Um, the idea of doing another RBD guy was, again, like you thought it was other RBD guy, but we're like, no, he died, dude. Like when he got transported in that episode, he did. And so another RBD guy coming in and being a parallel Max and, you know, explaining everything, just made a lot of sense to me. I thought it was really cool. Um, and I thought it was a great way to kind of end this point. And also, it leads to this whole seasonal arc essentially opens up to the road to episode 25. Like everything is set up at this point so that when we jump to the next thing, it's the road to episode 23, the two episodes leading to it. Um, Also, obviously, how I look as another RBD guy is how I look, without the wig. That's how much my hair had grown at that point, which sadly would all go away. But that's a story for another time. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this audio commentary. We will be back for more audio commentaries. We have a few more seasonal ones left, so be on the lookout for that. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Take care.